In today's video, we're diving into Open Great League and we're gonna check together the best 5 teams to use. Hello trainers! Ganeto here, and let's start off with a Trevenant team. Trevenant will be our leader. We're gonna have it with the standard moveset Shadow Claw, Seed Bomb and Shadow Ball, a really good Pokemon to use, a really great generalist, and even against some dark types you can still go pretty hard with back to back Seed Bombs. You have nothing to worry about. This Pokemon is absolutely a beast in Open Great League. We're gonna have the Skarmory as a closer, and the safe switch for this team is gonna be Vigoroth. So overall, this synergy that this team has, I really love it because both the Trevenant and the Vigoroth can really go pretty well against the steel types to protect your Skarmory. Skarmory without a steel type can perhaps finish off and sweep the entire team your opponent has. Having access to Brave Bird really helps against certain matchups, especially against Azumarill, and of course you can always go with Sky Attack for your any other neutral matchup. You're gonna have that Vigoroth as a safe switch, which is a really good Pokemon. I really like it with its spammy moveset, Body Slam and Counter, and of course Bulldoze for some more coverage against those steel types. The core breaker for this team, yes, you got it right, this is gonna be the Talonflame. Talonflame is gonna be a Pokemon that can work pretty well against the lead, against the closer, and against the safe switch. Well, you can still pressure it down, but if it plays correctly with Shield Jab, perhaps you're gonna be in a tough position. Now we're gonna talk about a top tier team, a tier A, perhaps S team composition. We're gonna have Nidoqueen up in the lead, followed up by Umbreon and that Azumarill. The safe switch for this team composition, perhaps it is gonna be the Azumarill, but you can always play it as Umbreon as well, especially if you have Psychic for some more coverage against the fighters. So overall, this Nidoqueen is absolutely awesome. You can pressure down the opponents with your Poison Jab, with your Poison Fangs, and if you want a nuke against some steel types, you can easily pressure them down with a potential Earth Power. Earthquake is also gonna be on your moveset, so you might want to consider it, or even Stone Edge for those flyers, but most of the times you're gonna use Earth Power and you're gonna need it more. So I think that Poison Fang, Poison Jab as your fast attack, and Earth Power as your nuke are gonna be the optimal moveset for your Nidoqueen. Umbreon, as we said, you can always use it with Psychic for more coverage against the fighters, but I prefer it with Last Resort because a lot of people tend to use more dark types out there, and Last Resort can really help on that factor. Azumarill, it is considered to be, as we already said, a safe switch for this team. However, a lot of counters exist for Azumarill. Do not expect to always win with this Pokemon in the in-between matchup, because a lot of players are gonna have a grass type, a poison type like Nidoqueen, or something like a Registeel to pressure you down with a lot of Zap Cannons, and you're gonna be in a tough position overall. However, this team is super bulky, it can take the hits, it can also answer back with some really nice nukes that it has, especially the Hydro Bump for that from that Azumarill can almost take a shield. It is guaranteed to take a shield, and of course the core breaker is gonna be the Dugong. Dugong works really well against Umbreon and that Nidoqueen, and against Azumarill it is a close matchup, but still Dugong can pull off the win. Another A+ tier team for you trainers. We got Altaria up in the lead, which is pretty bulky, can even tank a whole Ice Beam from the Azumarill, and of course you can pressure down with your Dragon Breath damage. Sky Attack is gonna be your way to go, Dragon Pulse is gonna be on your moveset, but I prefer Moonblast for that dark type coverage. This Pokemon provides a lot of coverage overall against the meta, against Swampbirds, against dark types, against grasses, and of course against fighters, which is really huge, and a lot of Pokemon, actually, and a lot of trainers tend to lead with those Pokemon up in the lead. So having Altaria over that Pokemon is gonna have you the advantage overall. However, Altaria is pretty weak to that steel typing and the Charmers, but don't worry trainers, the backline is here to help you out with that. Let's start off with Jellicent, and I prefer the Hex Jellicent overall because of that higher energy gain. Just keep in mind that you're gonna need Shadow Ball no matter what for your closing game, and of course it is up to you for the second charge attack. You can always use a Bubble Beam or just go with Ice Beam for more coverage against the flyers, but I prefer Bubble Beam because of the cheaper energy that I need to unleash that move, and of course with Bubble Beam you get more mind games for your opponent, and this can be tricky for any enemy out out there. Galarian Stunfisk is gonna be our safe switch, and you're gonna see that Rock Slide can really help you with that, either with baits even or with the flying type Pokemon. Earthquake is gonna be your way to go against Swampers or even the fighters that are really walling you down, but still you can pressure them down in using some shields. And of course the core breaker for this team is gonna be the Ludicolo. So besides the tactical, which who is absolutely gonna use it for sure as a spicy one, and I think it is his favorite Pokemon, you're gonna have no other weakness at all. This team really works well with its synergy in its picks, so I will not be that worried about anything else. This one is one of my favorites to use overall. We got a very safe lead to the face of Sableye, and this one is pretty awesome because it can hit hard with the foul plays or just go with the nuke, the return, and you're gonna need a purified version only for that. The return damage is absolutely amazing, and don't worry about if you do not have an Excel Medicham or Excel Sableye over here. You can still go with the 100% ones and just go with whatever you can from Excels. This line of 3 is absolutely safe to use, and I really recommend to you trainers. So Sableye is a pretty cool leader because it provides a lot of coverage to the meta, a lot of neutral matchups, and overall with shields up it can work and make wonders for your team. As a closer I prefer the Medicham, especially with Psychic. I have Ice Punch over here, but I think that Psychic is gonna help even more, especially with its typing being part Psychic, and of course it is gonna have more stab damage. Wolverine is gonna be our closer, and with Medicham helping it with its steel weakness, I think that Wolverine can really shine when using this line of 3. Of course you have access to Earthquake to nuke down the steel types and provide you more coverage even against something like an Azumarill for example, but overall this Pokemon is so spammy that can pressure down the opponent in using some shields even if they have something like a Talonflame for example. The core breaker for this team is gonna be the Skarmory, but overall I think that with back-to-back foul plays from that Sableye, with back-to-back Icicle Spears from that Wolverine, you can still go pretty hard on the Skarmory, so it cannot be that much of a core breaker for this team. Overall I really like this composition because it is pretty safe and provides a lot of coverage for the meta. Final one trainers, and guess what we got here? A full nuke down team. This line of 3 is absolutely awesome. It can take down those shields from the opponent in no time, and especially with those debuffing moves that Registeel has, it's gonna be absolutely awesome. So let's start off with Venusaur, a pretty solid lead, pretty straightforward. You see a flyer, just switch out to Cofagrigus. You see a water type, just stay in and you're gonna be just fine. Also the fighters, the dark types, a really good Pokemon to cover those Pokemon as well. The Zap Cannon version of Registeel is gonna be needed for this team as a closer, but you can always use Registeel as a safe switch to be honest, and it might work much better than Cofagrigus because this Pokemon is not weak to almost anything, so you can still hit it hard with Zap Cannon or just go Focus Blast for more coverage against those dark types. Registeel is also gonna debuff the opponent with Zap Cannon, which will put you in advance in the end game for sure. Cofagrigus is another Pokemon that has access to nukes, Dark Ball, Psychic, whatever. Just keep in mind that you're gonna need Shadow Claw as your fast attack and Shadow Ball as your main nuke move. The core breakers for this team is gonna be the Trevenant because it can still win every single Pokemon from this composition, but keep in mind that with the straight Sludge Bombs, even that Venusaur can pressure down Trevenant if you shield properly. That Shadow Ball you can still win. With Registeel you can still pressure it down to almost the red bar section of HP that Trevenant has, and Cofagrigus can still nuke it down with a simple Shadow Ball if your opponent has no shields at all. So it This is a core breaker, but not that much of a core breaker if you play it correctly. Overall, this line of 3 a really good one, and I really recommend it to you trainers. That's all trainers, thank you for watching, thank you for staying till the end. I hope you had a wonderful time watching the video, and of course I hope you found a competitive and useful team out of those 5 that I have recommended to you. Be sure to write down in the comment section which one was your favorite one, and of course be sure to leave a like before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, because if you have stayed till now and you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. And with that said, be sure to check over here for more Great League teams. Thank you for watching trainers, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Take care everyone.